Hello, this is Cageymoon. I would like to talk to you a little bit today about how to handle crashes on the Beyond pack and a lot of packs in general. I've got my own methods. It may not be what's the way to do it, but it's kind of the way I do things. One of the key things to remember is make sure whatever pack you're using has some kind of backup feature that ever so often throws the files into a backup folder. Pretty easy to go down through your list, uh, uh, get into your mod pack list, and you'll see a little backups folder if you have one. If your mod pack does not have one, then you have to be proactive and make sure you're pulling out copies of your world and saving them yourself. Something I do on anything that I play, whether it's a single player map or it's like most of what you're watching, I do on a home server, is that basically daily, especially if I make a lot of progress, I make sure to take a copy of my world and put it in a separate folder somewhere on my computer. I actually have a file, a folder just for backups for each pack, and then inside that pack I have a folder, and I just put whatever day save it is. I label that a new folder inside that folder um, for the particular day and time. And if it's a day that I've been very active or my kids have been really active playing, I try to pull out one backup from the morning and afternoon. That way we've just got always got some uh, backups handy. So what do you do with that? So say my world crashes, like just earlier I was playing, and um, thermal still got some bugs. I accidentally connected two pipes going together with servos on each end, and instant crash. I had that happen before, but it was a client side crashing. This time the entire server went down and would not restart. So what do? Well, what I did is number one, I have those backups. So worst case, I can go back to like yesterday if I had to and not lose a little bit of progress. But because it's got the automatic backup feature that goes on, I can't remember how often I've got it set. I was just able to pull the the corrupted copy out, and I usually set that aside just in case somewhere temporarily, and then do a now make sure you don't drag, especially if it's on the same computer. Uh, Take your saved copy that you know is good, copy that into your mod pack folder in place of the world that's corrupted, and then relaunch. Make sure you've stopped it. If you're running a server, make sure you've stopped it first. And if you're playing Minecraft, make sure you're out of that map, which is obvious. But especially if you got your own server, make sure it's stopped and not trying to restart itself, or you can do some bad stuff to your pack and have to really go in there. I learned a lot of this the hard way. But just once you put the new copy in, restart it and see if it launches. Sometimes I've noticed, and I'm sure there's a way around of it, but sometimes I've noticed after a crash or after I pulled another mod out of the pack and I get a crash and it still will not restart. What worked for me is delete the one you copied, the one that you pulled out of your backup, you copied in and tried to run it and it's crashed again. Delete that and just let your server restart a fresh copy. And again, this is specifically on a server. Um, Restart a fresh copy, and then after that's got and you're loaded and I've checked, I can get into it again. Um, Stop it, pull out that fresh map, and then reinsert your backup. And for me, that works has worked 99.9% of the time. I don't know what it is that it makes it work. I'm sure there's guys out there that can explain that. But that's the best way I find out to handle crashes. And because I've had computers go down, one of the things I do, especially with our servers, uh, is I frequently, a couple of times a week, I'll pull a couple of those backups off of my server and put them onto a flash drive. That way, if something happened with my server, I've still got it. And so I've actually got, with that, I've actually got a copy of every server I've ever done saved can't remember what all mods they were done with, but I've at least got the maps, and sometimes it's been fun to go into those and look at those. So that's how I handle crashes, and maybe you have some other better ideas, but that's what works for me. Thank you, Cageymoon signing off.